this computer.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, you guys, we are so excited to be here with Kyle Raney, and he doesn't even need introduction because if you've been on our team long enough, you hear his name all the time because we love him, and he's been mentoring Lori and I for how long has it been? 2 years. He's been putting up with us. So
Bless his heart.
So we are so excited for him to be here and to just speak some life into us today because he's so good at doing that. So,
Well, I appreciate it, ladies. Thank you so much. And it's been a joy 99% of the time. No, I'm just kidding. It's been great. I'm excited to talk to you tonight. And so, yeah, when I was thinking about what to kind of talk about tonight, I wanted to actually do something, maybe talk about something I haven't really done on a team call before. Um, it's really exciting tonight. Actually, after I jump off of here, I'm jumping onto my team's Christmas party. So super fun. And I've got um, the Santa Claus hat and the ugly Christmas sweater I got to change into. I got to do a wardrobe change. Um, so I didn't bless y'all with all that. Um, I know. You feel deprived. But what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit. I think sometimes when I come on team calls and people ask me to come on, they're like, "Hey, give us strategy, give us like 6 steps to something, or vision, or how do we get business builders, or how do we, whatever the case may be," which is all great. Um, but what I've noticed is that whatever we're struggling with, whatever area of business we're struggling with, typically it's an internal problem, not an external problem. Not all the time. But sometimes it's an internal problem, not an external problem. So today or tonight, I should say, I want to go underneath the hood a little bit, work beneath um, what our strategy actually really is, and kind of lead from the inside out in network marketing. So um, the internal work that creates external momentum is something that's really, really important. And in network marketing, most people focus on, like I said, strategy, scripts, pace, rank goals, tracking our numbers, looking at potentials. But the truth is, you can't outrun the person you refuse to become. You can't outrun the person you refuse to become. You just can't. Um, and external success always bends to how our internal health is. And so your team feels your interior world long before they hear your words, right? And a lot of times I can talk to a leader of a team and a lot of things they're struggling with is a diagnosis to the rest of the team. It's usually what the whole team is struggling with. It's interesting how that kind of reflects. And so our knee-jerk reaction is, well, how do we fix it? How do we fix it? And that's great. I mean, we need to have those conversations about how do we fix this with certain strategies, or whether it's social media strategies, whether it's consistency talks, whether it's customer care, whether it's whatever it is, it's great. But it's these internal narratives and patterns we have to look at in addition to the strategy. So why this internal work matters. Network marketing exposes every insecurity. I don't know if you've noticed that, but it exposes every insecurity, every fear, every doubt, every story you believed about yourself that maybe wasn't true, you believe now. It reveals that the moments you hide instead of showing up. It reveals the fear of being judged. It reveals and hesitation to invite, the avoidance of following up with people because you're fearful what they're going to say, the comparison you don't want to admit that you're actually doing when you're, clapping for someone else because they just earned leaders retreat, and internally you're going, why can't I get there? Why can't I ever find this? Why can't I ever do that? Why can't I find another business builder, et cetera? The pressure to be successful, the guilt for wanting more, for being ambitious and having this drive, the worry you're not strong enough leader, that's why no one's joining you, the fear that someone on your team will pass you up. I mean, I've had that before. So on the surface these look like skill issues, but underneath they're actually hard issues, identity issues, mindset issues, worth issues, courage issues. So most people think that they have a strategy problem. What really they have is a story problem. Okay. If the story inside you is small, your actions will be too. If the story inside you is small, your actions will be too. If the story inside of you is negative, your responses to your actions will obviously be negative as well. So here's the cost of building without internal work. Okay. And I'll be honest with you, I've been doing this for almost 11 years and I've seen a lot of people jump to the top of this company, but they're miserable and they don't sustain it because they don't do the internal work. And the internal work is where we're going to see a lot of fulfillment, but also a lot of long-lasting change. And here's what happens when you go through a season when you don't do internal work, but you just do this external work, the strategy. You can hustle through a season. You can. Like right now, I know a lot of you are pushing. It's double credits now. It's December. We're this last push, happening, and there's a big surprise coming out tomorrow that's even probably going to even make you feel even more pressured. That you'll find out tomorrow. But you cannot out hustle your internal world forever. And here's what happens when leaders skip the inner work: burnout. And burnout isn't that usually I'm doing too much. It's usually I don't feel like I'm enough. It's usually I have no more bandwidth. It's an emotional burnout. It's a mental burnout way before it's a physical burnout. A physical burnout is a symptom of an internal burnout. You have an emotional spiral during slow months, right? We're only happy when our team's up, when we can't stand network marketing when our team's down, right? We're leading out of pressure instead of purpose. A team that will often mirror our overwhelm or negativity. I don't know if you ever noticed, I've seen this before on my team when I'm negative or even sarcastic or even all those things. And then all of a sudden, I don't know why I'm surprised when my team's negative. Well, I've set the tone, right? So that's what happens when you're not doing the internal work. Building a business that no longer feels like you, doing things that are not in your voice. I'm not talking about doing things outside of your comfort zone. I'm talking about things that you're not doing that isn't authentic to you. So when you avoid your inner work, you accidentally create a business that needs more of you than you can sustain. And that's when resentment grows, joy disappears, and when you start slowly fantasizing about quitting. Rarely do I have someone who does this for a little bit quit all of a sudden. They usually don't wake up one morning and go, I quit. I'm not doing this anymore. It's that gradual, small, little quit. It just kind of drips over time, over time, over time. I'll do that next week. I'll do that in 2 weeks. I'll do that in a month. I'll do that in 6 months. Oh, weren't you the girl who used to do plexus? And that's usually how it works, almost every single time. Not because you're weak, but because the weight you're carrying was never meant to go unexamined. So let's do some things. I want to teach you 4 shifts as leaders you've got to make. Okay. And this is internal work. Okay. And again, I'll be happy to jump back on here one night and we can talk about how to find business builders, how to find your narratives and do attractional marketing through Instagram, blitz prospecting, whatever you guys want to talk about, we can talk about. But I'm telling you, this work is the most important. So the first shift, I want you to shift from effort to identity. Most leaders try to fix their output by increasing effort. Well, if I just do more, then I'm going to see the fruit. If I just do more, I just got to do more, got to do more, got to do more. Now, sometimes you do need to do more because let's just be honest, we're being a little bit procrastinating or lazy or whatever things that we just don't want to do it, right? But oftentimes we think, well, I'm doing all the things, but I'm not getting results. Therefore, I need to do more. So I'm going to increase my effort. But effort without identity and without clarity will burn you out. So I want you to ask yourself some questions. Who am I as a leader? And you may say, well, I don't have anybody on my team to lead. Why does that matter? You lead every day when you make that post. You lead whenever you're around your friend. You lead whenever you're connecting with people. Who am I as a leader? What defines me as that? What do people think of me? If they're like, well, describe this person in a couple words, what would they say? Okay. Second question is, why am I building this? Why am I building this in Plexus? And I know you're like, oh yeah, I know, Lori and Misty, they talked to us about our why and all the things. No, like outside of, oh, I want to get a debt, or oh, I want to be able to retire my husband, or I want to pay for my kids' college. Outside of that, why are you really doing this? Is it to help people? Is it to prove something to yourself? Is it for purpose? You got to ask this question. So, why is it that you're doing? Then, what kind of leader do I want my team to feel when they're around me? or even my customers. Like what kind of leader do I want my team to feel when they're around me? Because your identity is the engine and your effort is just the gas. So until the engine is tuned, more gas won't help, right? So we make this shift from effort to identity. Now, once we know who we are and why we're doing this, the effort will come. The number one thing I coach on all the time when people come in, they're like, oh, my business is in the dumpster, whatever. And it's usually comes down to consistency and activity all the time. Oh, well, I mean, it's been 3 or 4 days since I've done this, this, and this, you know. I just haven't been consistent. And then a lot of times it's the question, I don't know why I'm not showing up. I don't know why I'm not showing up. I'm just not doing the work. I don't know. And so that's almost all the time. And so what is their knee-jerk reaction? Well, I just need to do more. I need to do more, need more. Instead of just doing more immediately, ask the question, why do I consistently not be consistent? Why do I give up on things so quickly? Why do I make excuses when things get hard? It could be from your childhood. It could be a trauma from the past. It could be you have a scarcity mindset. Maybe it's your belief, but you'll never know if you don't ask the question. You got to get real clear. Why do I do this all the time? And oftentimes we'll just accept and say, well, this is just who I am. Well, that's just who I am. I quit things. I've always do that. I don't know. I don't think God created you and like, hey, Annie, you're going to be a quitter. Like that's not really how God works. That's like how like he built you together, right? Hey, Lori, you're going to be disorganized. Hey, you're going to Misty, you're going to do like that's not how it works, right? Over time, we've developed these patterns, these narratives, and these things in our lives. And so we have to ask the question, why are we like that? And then when we get to the why, then we can start getting some healing and over the roadblock. And then that's going to help our effort. And so we got to go from just give more effort, just do more to why am I doing this? Who am I? Who am I? The second shift from pressure to presence. Okay. Your team doesn't need you to be a perfect leader. They just need you to be a present one. Your customers don't need you to be a perfect, salesman. They just need you to be present. Present with your message, your mission, be present with your people. Pressure says, I need you to hit a number, and present says, I'm here to serve. Pressure is heavy, presence is magnetic. Have you ever been around someone that's just magnetic? Like they don't they're not maybe they're not an eloquent speaker, maybe they're not a deep thinker, but just the way their heart position is and the joy they have, like they're just magnetic. Like you're just drawn to them. Like you just want to be around them. Okay? That's the shift we make, right? I just need to be present. I don't need this pressure because people can feel the difference between a leader who needs something from them and a leader who sees something in them. Okay. People can feel the difference, say this again, between a leader who needs something from them and a leader who sees something in them. Okay. Third shift from hustle to roots. Now, look, I'm not an anti-hustle guy. That was a big thing in 2020. We saw it all over the place. Oh, anti-hustle, no hustle, no hustle, no hustle. Okay, well, it was a good marketing scheme. But here's the thing. External hustle is kind of easy. And here's what I mean by that. I didn't say it wasn't difficult, but it is kind of easy. Here's the thing, network marketing, you're I'll probably never be asked to talk to this team again because what I'm about to say, you're going to be very offended here in a minute. Network marketing is pretty easy. You just got to do three things. Sign people up, keep a couple of those people, and some of those people you keep, have them do what you do. That's it. That's it. We really want to break it all down. Like there's the strategy. Now there's about 20,000 different resources and books and podcasts and stuff that tells you their way is the best way. But when you root it all out and when you really push back the curtain and you see what it really the foundation, it's just those three things. Sign people up, get some to stay, some who stay, have them do what you do. That's it. And we talk about it all the time, right? Customer acquisition, retention, duplication. That's it. All these fancy people who are a lot smarter than me take these concepts and they package them in a really pretty package and have you pay $10,000, come and, do whatever with them. Okay. That's really what it comes down to. And my friends, we're going to bring the same junk into this strategy as we did to this strategy, as we did to this strategy, and we're going to get the same results because we've not done the internal work. Now, I'm not saying these people aren't brilliant, and I'm not saying their strategies aren't brilliant. They really are. But it's kind of like I had somebody one time leave my team, says, "Well, it's Plexus." And they just pointed to play, "Oh, the products, the compensation plan. Okay, that's fine." So she left in a huff. Well, I knew she had insecurity. I knew she had a negative mindset. I knew she had a scarcity mindset. I knew she really cared what other people thought of her. And guess what? That was 6 years ago. I think she's on her seventh network marketing uh, business now and company. And it's the same thing every time she posts. I've really found the answer this time. Oh, this is the one this time. Oh, this is the best I've ever. And she just leaves in about 6 months because the company's changed. She hasn't. She's still quitting, still complaining, still looking at everyone else's problem and everybody else's fault except taking some ownership. Okay. I know that sounds mean, but I'm not trying to be mean. What I'm saying is you can't out hustle a bad mindset, a bad heart position, a negative narrative. External hustle is easy. You can keep yourself busy. I talk to people all the time. I'm working my place of business 8 hours a day. Number one, what are you doing for 8 hours a day? My goodness, that's not supposed to be how that's not supposed to be the way you do it. But number two, yeah, I mean, I could find work to do. Doesn't mean it's gonna be productive work. It's gonna get me anywhere. Here's what roots look like. Okay, hustle, we know what hustle looks like. Here's what roots look like. We regulate our emotions, right? We're self-aware. I know I need to do this now because I know I have a tendency to procrastinate when I have to do things that are hard. So I'm going to go ahead and do it now because I know I'll just put this off, right? That's self-awareness. Okay. I'm self-aware because I'm an Enneagram 8. I'm pretty blunt. Okay. I don't know. Blunt's probably not the best word to describe me. Probably Lori Misty. I'm more, mm, I mean, I feel like I have a lot of velvet to my brick. I don't think I'm like mean, but I'm also not going to I'm not going to tell you what you think you want to hear. I'm going to say, hey, I think this is an issue. Let's talk about it. I'm not going to ignore things, I guess, is probably the best way to put it. I'm self-aware and I need to be aware that sometimes my Enneagram 8 can come out and feel a little bit like punchy, a little hard. And so I just gotta be self-aware and know who I'm dealing with. I can't keep making Lori cry every time. I've got to do something different. So, it's just gotta be so we're healthy rhythms, boundaries, vision, clarity, personal consistency. These are roots. Hustle grows quickly. It does. It'll boost up your production quickly. Roots grow deep. And you know who the leaders who stay, the people who stay, it's people who are rooted deeply, right? I've been in this 11 years. Can I just tell you, this is totally off subject, and this is probably going to get me in trouble. I have seen so many new hot growing plexus flashing the plan. Oh my goodness, it's in 6 weeks. She's done this. She's the next big thing. And she ain't even around anymore. I met a girl, I was doing an opportunity event. I was doing opportunity events around the country with Plexus with another diamond, and I was in Las Vegas. This girl comes up and is like, "Oh, I want to introduce you to my level one. She went Emerald in 4 months, and she's a big influencer." And I was like, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you. That's so exciting. Well, that's incredible." And Emerald in 4 months, and the girl goes, "Yeah, yeah. How quickly did you go?" And I said, "It took me like 2 years. Like, I mean, like that's amazing what you've done. Like, it's incredible, incredible, incredible." And I said, well, "How did you build?" She was like, "Oh, I just used my Instagram account. And I have 100,000 followers." And I was like, "Oh, well, what's retention look like for you? Because that's got to be hard." And she goes, "Oh, I don't worry about retention. I just get new customers every month." She ain't in Plexus anymore. Yeah, she went enrolled in 4 months. But at the 6 month mark, she had 75 points. She can keep anybody. I've seen the flash in the pan. I've seen the shiny. I've seen the whatever. But guys, they don't have roots. They have effort. They have hustle. They have roots. You need roots. Okay. Final shift is from self-doubt to self-honesty. Self-doubt says I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Self-honesty says I want to understand why I'm stuck. This pattern keeps happening. What is it revealing? This pattern keeps happening. I'm afraid of being seen. What is the fear What is that fear costing me? Because breakthrough rarely comes from pushing harder, it comes from being honest sooner. And when you tell the truth about what's happening inside of you, you stop sabotaging what's possible outside of you. Okay. So I'm going to give you three things real quick because I've got to start wrapping up. One, you have to have clarity before action. Okay. What am I building and why does it matter? When you know this, the noise quiets, the content is easier, the conversations become more natural, the reach outs become more natural, the confidence grows. Okay. So clarity before your action. Why am I doing this? Why am I building? Why does this matter? Two, audit your patterns. What am I avoiding? What am I overthinking? What do feel like I have to be perfect in? Where are my inconsistencies? Where am I comparing? So identifying yours is key. Whatever that thing is, identify that pattern, that negative pattern you're seeing. Because when you do, excuse me, when you ignore it, it will quietly lead you. And it'll be years, and you're like, man, why am I always like this? And you've never identified the pattern and asked these questions. Third, choose one courageous action a day. Not 10, not 20, not 50, not 100, just one. Message that person you're scared to message. Follow up with that one customer that you're scared about the response. Have one real conversation with a coworker about Plexus. Post one honest message. Courage, go live, and you never go because you never go live. Just one little thing, one little courageous action a day. That's all it takes. One action a day to start these shifts and start these internal narratives start to move, and then get support, whether that's through coaching, whether that's in community like you have here, and from the wisdom of Misty and Lori. You got to be in a community. There's no lone rangers because community magnifies your courage. Isolation magnifies your insecurity. We'd rather be isolated. Nobody know us. Because and it's always fun. Missy and Lori can tell you. We'll do these weekly calls, and I'll have 30 people on who are I'm all doing individual coaching with, and then one person will say, "I'm struggling with this," and all 29 other people are like, "Me too. Oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one." Oh, that's what community does. It magnifies courage. But isolation, you start believing, well, only I struggle with this, and only I deal with this, and only I. And so we have to be really, really cognizant of that. Okay. Last thing. We'll leave you with some one-liners. Here we go. Your business grows when you do. Your team will change when you do. Your influence will expand when your inner world expands. Your rank is not the measure of your leadership or your worth. Your internal alignment is. The work beneath the work is the work. Okay, so tonight I want you to walk away with one question you'll answer honestly. What is the internal story, belief, or pattern that is limiting what God is trying to build through me? If you give attention to that, everything else will shift. Everything else will show. So, friends, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. I know this may be a little bit different than what you're used to, but this is the real work. And I know that some of you maybe come on here and you're like, "Oh, I want the 10 steps to get the diamond." Man, there are 1,000 steps to get the diamond. Okay. However, like I said, network marketing just goes down to three things. That's it, just three things. However, it's all the stuff internally that blocks us from doing those three things. When we figure that out, like some of you need to ask the question, and I know not everybody's on tonight, so maybe you're watching recording. Why don't I go all in? I know I can do this. I've had success. I've earned things. I've gotten ranks. I've earned leaders retreat. Why don't I go all in? What am I scared of? Why am I fearful? See, what we'll do is, oh, another contest, another carrot. And all that does really is suppresses that question. So we don't have to address it. I'm too busy to think about that because I'm pushing for rank. I'm too busy. I got to earn Cancun leadership retreat. I'm too busy for that because, friends, I'm telling you, you want freedom in this business and you want success and you want to build strong roots that will last seasons of momentum and seasons when you're in the valley. This is what you got to do. What is the internal story, belief, or pattern that is limiting what God is trying to build through me? Thank you, Misty. Thank you, Lori. Appreciate you guys so much. And we'll see you around.
Thank
I
you,
gotta go to
Kyle.
Christmas. I gotta head to a Christmas party. Bye, guys.
Bye.